Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into some really interesting Buddhist philosophy, all about achieving enlightenment.
Okay.
And you gave me some fascinating excerpts from a book of discourses, and for anyone who doesn't know, a discourse is essentially like a teaching by a Sri Lankan monk, Most Venerable Mahapragya Mevanapalani Siri Sadthdhamma Mahathero.
Oh, wow.
I know it's a mouthful, but this book was published in 2019.
Okay.
And what really caught my eye was how it distinguishes between meritorious deeds and wholesome actions.
Okay.
I think a lot of times, we use those terms interchangeably.
Yeah.
But this book suggests there's a really big difference.
Yes, and that's a really important nuance that we need to tease out.
Yeah.
The text actually dives deep into this and explains that wholesome actions, or kusala in Pali, literally means to shed off defilements.
Oh, wow. So it's not just about like doing good deeds in the world. It's about purifying the mind.
Exactly.
It's like mental decluttering.
Yeah, it's a great way to put it.
I love that. So what kind of defilements are we talking about here?
The text focuses on 3 root defilements, or as I'd like to call them, 3 heavy burdens that prevent us from experiencing true enlightenment.
Okay.
These are raga, devesha, and moha.
Okay.
These translate to lust or craving, aversion or hatred, and delusion or ignorance.
Gotcha. So if just doing good deeds isn't enough, how do we actually shed off these defilements, these heavy burdens?
That's where the idea of transforming even what we consider meritorious deeds, or puññya kamma in Pali, into true wholesome actions comes into play.
Okay.
It's all about the intention behind the action.
The intention.
Let's say, for example, you donate to a charity, but you do it just for the recognition or the tax break. That's still a meritorious deed on the surface.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily leading to this deep mental purification.
Oh, so it's like giving a gift with strings attached?
Exactly.
So it has to come from a genuine place of selflessness and compassion to truly be kusala.
Yes. Very well said.
Okay, I'm starting to get this.
The text highlights 3 aspects of this transformation.
Okay.
First is what we call pin patharava, which is extending the merit of your action to all beings.
Okay.
Second is pin pi tuva, dedicating the merit to the well-being of others. And finally, pin anumadana, which means bestowing merit upon others, even those who have passed away.
That's beautiful. Like the good you do isn't just contained within that one action.
Right.
It ripples outwards. It touches everybody.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, I like that. So now the text goes on to discuss something called Sotapanna.
Yes.
Which is the first stage of enlightenment.
That's right.
And the text says that even to begin on that path, there are 4 crucial prerequisites.
It's like having a checklist.
Okay, a checklist for enlightenment. I'm all ears.
All right, so the first thing the text mentions is petharupa desa vasocha.
Okay.
This basically means you need to be living in a place where the Buddha's teachings are accessible.
That makes sense. You can't walk a path if you don't even know it exists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The right environment is essential for spiritual growth.
Yeah, for sure. What's the next thing on the checklist?
The second is pubecha katha puññata.
Okay.
Which refers to past wholesome karma.
Okay.
Basically, the actions you've taken in the past actually set the stage for what you can achieve now.
So even if we're not consciously striving for enlightenment, our past good deeds are still working in our favor.
That's right. It's all connected.
I like that. What else?
The third prerequisite is atha samapanidicca.
Okay.
Which means having the right intention.
Okay.
A true desire to liberate yourself from suffering.
So it's not just about following rules. It's about really wanting this for yourself.
You have to want it.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Wow. What's the last thing?
And finally, you need Arya Satchana Dasana.
Okay.
Which means having heard the true teachings from a Kalyāna Mitta, a noble person.
So we need a teacher.
Exactly.
Like a mentor, someone who embodies the Dharma.
Precisely.
Okay, cool. So we've got our checklist for starting the journey.
Yes.
But what actually propels us forward on the path?
Once these 4 conditions are met, the path to Sotapanna unfolds through 4 key factors.
All right, lay it on me.
The first one is you need the continued support of your Kalyāna Mitta.
Right.
Your wise teacher who can guide you through all the challenges you'll encounter.
Like an experienced navigator.
Exactly.
Okay, someone who's been down this river before. What else?
Second, The text emphasizes continually listening to and understanding the teachings of the Buddha.
Which is what we're doing right now with this deep dive.
Precisely.
Right.
Soaking up the wisdom and letting it inform your practice.
Yeah, learning is key, for sure. What's the third factor?
That would be cultivating what we call Yonisomanasikāraya.
Yonisomanasikāraya.
Yes.
Okay.
Which is the right mindfulness.
Right, mindfulness.
This allows you to observe your thoughts and actions with clarity and non-judgment without getting swept away by them.
So it's like a mental muscle.
Exactly.
That helps us pause before reacting.
Yes.
And make more conscious choices.
Precisely.
What about the final factor?
And finally, Dhammanudhamma Patipada.
Okay.
Which means practicing the right way of life, aligning your actions with the principles of the Dharma.
So putting all this knowledge into action, walking the walk.
Exactly.
It's a lot like going on a challenging hike.
Yes.
You need the right guide, the right map, the right gear, and the right technique.
That's a great analogy.
To navigate the terrain.
It is.
So are there specific obstacles or challenges that you should be aware of?
The text describes them as powerful currents in a river that you need to cross. There are 4 main ones.
Okay, let's hear them.
Desire, mental tendencies, fixed views, and ignorance.
Those sound like some pretty intense currents.
They are.
How do we avoid getting swept away?
Well, the text offers a powerful analogy. A skilled boatman navigating those very currents. He doesn't fight them. But he uses their force to maneuver his way through the river.
So he's working with the challenges.
Exactly.
Using their energy to propel him forward.
Precisely.
That's really interesting. I want to hear more about these currents and how we can kind of skillfully navigate them.
In the context of achieving Sotapanna, the text explains that it specifically requires overcoming 3 mental fetters.
Okay, mental fetters.
Right.
Meaning like beliefs or habits that kind of hold us back.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are they?
The first one is Sakkaya Ditthi. Which is the belief in a permanent self.
Right. So the idea that we are like these unchanging, separate entities, when in reality, everything is interconnected and constantly in flux.
Yes. Very well said.
What's the second fetter?
The second is vicikicca.
Vicikicca.
Which is doubt.
Doubt.
Which can paralyze us and prevent us from taking those steps forward.
Oh, yeah. We all experience doubt.
Of course.
Especially when facing something as challenging as the path to enlightenment.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do we overcome that?
Well, the text emphasizes that clinging to rituals can actually fuel our doubts.
Oh, interesting.
This clinging to rituals is the third fetter called Silavatha Paramasa.
Silavatha Paramasa.
It makes us believe that just performing certain actions is enough to achieve liberation.
But it's not about blindly following rituals.
Exactly.
It's about really understanding the principles behind them.
Yes.
So instead of just going through the motions, we have to engage with the meaning and the intention behind our actions.
You've got it.
Okay, so once you've broken free from these mental fetters, achieved Sotapanna, what happens then?
The text says that the journey to full enlightenment is essentially guaranteed.
Guaranteed. So it's like you've reached a point of no return.
Yes.
You're naturally drawn towards enlightenment.
It's as if you've been paddling upstream against the current.
Right.
And now you can finally relax and let the river carry you towards the ocean of liberation.
That's such a powerful image.
It is.
So we've covered a lot.
Yeah.
The difference between good deeds and wholesome actions.
You're right.
The prerequisites for even starting on this path.
Yes.
And now these mental fetters we need to overcome to reach Sotapanna.
Precisely.
So much good stuff.
And there's still so much more to explore.
I know, right? I'm already hooked. But for now, we'll pause here.
Okay.
And I want you all to think about this.
All right.
If even the Buddha started with Sotapanna, where are you on your personal journey towards greater understanding and liberation?
That's a great question to ponder.
It is. We'll be back with part 2 soon.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, so we're back. And, you know, we left off with this really powerful image of reaching Sotapanna as like this point of no return.
Right.
Where you're just like swept along by the current towards liberation.
Yes.
But I'm really curious about like what happens next? What lies beyond that initial breakthrough?
Yeah, it's like finally reaching the riverbank.
Right.
After navigating all those treacherous currents we talked about earlier.
Right.
You've gained a firm foothold.
Yeah.
And the journey becomes a bit easier from there.
Okay.
But the river keeps flowing.
Right.
And there are more stages of enlightenment beyond Sotapanna.
Oh, so Dhammapada is just the beginning.
Yes.
Whoa.
It's not the end.
That makes me think of like those epic adventure stories, you know, where the hero overcomes one challenge.
Right.
Only to find like an even greater one ahead.
Exactly.
So tell me, what are these other stages?
The text specifically mentions 3 more.
Okay.
Sakadagami.
Okay.
Anagami. And Arahant.
Okay, so we're getting into some new words here.
We are.
What do these represent?
They represent a deepening of understanding and liberation.
Okay.
Like climbing higher and higher up a mountain.
Okay.
The view becomes more expansive at each level.
Gotcha. So can you break down each stage for me?
Sure.
Like, what does each one actually represent?
Sakadagami means once returner.
Okay, once returner.
At this stage, someone has weakened their attachment to sensual desires and ill will to the point where they'll only be reborn one more time.
Whoa. So they've basically overcome most of that pull back into the cycle of suffering, which is samsara, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
The text emphasizes that reaching this stage requires getting rid of kamaraga-based kilesa.
Kamaraga-based kilesa.
Yeah, basically unwholesome desires based on lust or craving.
Okay, so they've really cleared out a lot of that mental clutter.
Yes.
Creating space for peace and clarity.
Exactly.
What about the next stage?
The next is anagami.
Anagami.
Which means non-returner.
Non-returner.
So at this stage, someone has completely broken free from the desire for sensual pleasures and any remaining aversion or ill will.
They've transcended those base impulses.
Yes, they have.
That sounds incredibly liberating.
It is.
How does someone even cultivate that level of freedom?
The text highlights a crucial distinction here. Between mundane wholesomeness and supramundane wholesomeness.
Mundane wholesomeness.
Even positive actions motivated by worldly concerns, like wanting approval or reciprocation, are still considered mundane.
It's like you might be doing good things, but there's still this subtle ego or self-interest behind them.
Supramundane wholesomeness, on the other hand, comes from pure compassion and wisdom without any attachment to personal gain.
Okay, so imagine acting purely out of a deep understanding of interconnectedness and a genuine desire to benefit others.
That's supramundane wholesomeness.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Their actions are just flowing from this place of deep inner peace, not from like a desire for external rewards or anything like that.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about Sakadami, the once returner.
Yes.
Anagami, the non-returner.
Right.
What about this final stage, Arahant?
Arahant represents full enlightenment.
Full enlightenment.
The summit of the mountain.
Okay.
Someone at this stage has completely extinguished all kilesa. All craving, aversion, and delusion.
So they've reached that state of perfect peace, wisdom, and compassion.
They have.
It's incredible to think
that
such a state is even possible.
But it is.
Does the text talk about what distinguishes an Arahant from the other stages?
It says that an Arahant is permanently free.
Okay.
From all the suffering and limitations of samsara.
Right.
The cycle of birth and death.
They've gone beyond.
Yes.
They're liberated forever. So we have this gradual progression.
Yes, we do.
Starting with Sotapanna and culminating in Arahant.
Right.
It's not like flipping a switch.
No, it's not.
But a process of continual transformation.
Exactly.
And this is something that the text makes clear.
It does.
The Buddha and Pacceka Buddhas achieve these stages instantly.
Yes.
But for most people, it's step by step.
It is a journey.
A journey. So even the Buddha started somewhere.
Yes.
He walked this path just like we are.
Exactly.
It's encouraging to know that we're all in this together.
We are.
You know, following in the footsteps of those who've come before us. But I guess this raises a question for me.
What's that?
What are the practices that support this transformation?
Okay.
What actually helps us progress through these stages?
One of the key practices emphasized in the text is Dhammanudhamma Patipada.
Dhammanudhamma Patipada.
Essentially living in alignment with the laws of cause and effect.
So being mindful of how our actions, even our thoughts,
yes,
create these ripples that impact everything around us.
That's right.
I mean, that sounds like a tall order.
It is.
Where do we even begin?
It doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Okay.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
Okay.
Think about your daily routine.
Okay.
Are there moments where you're just on autopilot?
Oh, yeah.
Just going through the motions. Maybe it's your commute. Scrolling through social media.
Yep.
Doing chores.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Especially mindlessly scrolling while waiting in line.
We all have those moments.
That's my weakness for sure.
What if instead of letting your mind wander,
right,
you use that time to practice mindful breathing?
Oh.
Or cultivate feelings of loving kindness
Okay.
towards the people around you.
That's a good idea.
You're turning those little pockets of time
Right.
into opportunities to practice.
Yeah.
Instead of being swept away by distractions. You're consciously choosing to bring in more awareness.
I like that.
And intention.
It's about finding those little ways to weave the Dharma into the fabric of your day.
Exactly.
Bit by bit.
Bit by bit.
And it's about being more conscious of how you spend your time and energy in general.
Absolutely.
So asking yourself,
yes,
does this activity nourish me?
Right.
Does it align with my values? Or is it draining me? Is it pulling me away from what truly matters?
Those are great questions to ask yourself.
Yeah, but it's not about judging ourselves.
No, not at all.
Right.
Or striving for some unrealistic ideal of perfection.
Right. We're all works in progress.
We are.
Constantly learning and growing.
Exactly.
And each moment is a fresh opportunity to make a different choice.
It is.
A choice that is aligned with the Dharma.
That's right.
It's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about progress.
It is.
And it's about those small intentional shifts that over time can lead to a profound transformation.
That's right.
And we're not alone on this journey.
We're not.
The text also talks about the value of connecting with wise teachers and supportive communities.
It does.
It's like having a network of people who can inspire you, offer guidance, help you stay on track.
Keep you accountable.
That sense of community can make a world of difference.
It can.
What's so cool about the Dharma is that it's like a living tradition.
It is.
These teachings are ancient.
Yes.
But they're still so relevant and adaptable to our modern lives.
They are.
It's not like a rigid set of rules.
No.
It's a framework
It
for understanding ourselves and the world around us.
Right.
And that understanding can help us navigate all the complexities of modern life with more wisdom and compassion.
That's right.
So it's not about escaping the world.
No.
It's about transforming our relationship to it.
Precisely.
And I think the key takeaway here is that enlightenment isn't this distant goal that's reserved for monks or mystics or whatever.
It's not.
It's a journey that begins right here.
Right
now, in the midst of our everyday experiences.
That's right.
It's about waking up to the present moment.
Yes.
Cultivating mindfulness, wisdom, compassion.
Absolutely.
And letting our actions flow from that place of understanding and liberation.
That's beautifully put.
Even if we only catch a glimpse of that, even for a moment, it can make all the difference.
It can.
So before we move on to part 3,
okay,
is there anything else from this section that you think is important to highlight?
I'd like to share a final thought from the text.
Okay.
It says, may this Siri Sadthdhamma dasana be helpful toward the completion of the 4 Sotapanna attributes.
Okay.
Attain samavimukti and be liberated from this perilous samsaric existence.
Powerful words. So we've been on this incredible journey, exploring these like really profound concepts. Yes.
On the path to enlightenment. But I think a lot of listeners out there might be wondering, like, okay, this is all great, but how do I actually integrate this into my life?
Right.
Like, how do I take this from the meditation cushion out into the real world?
Yeah.
With all of its demands and distractions and everything else going on.
Absolutely. It's easy to feel that disconnect, you know, between the peace and clarity we experience in meditation and then the chaos of everyday life.
Exactly.
But the beautiful thing is that the Dharma isn't meant to be separate from our lives.
Right.
It's meant to guide us through them.
Okay.
To help us navigate the challenges and make wiser choices.
So it's not about escaping the world,
but
transforming our relationship to it.
Exactly.
But how do we do that?
Well, remember Dhammanudhamma Patipada?
Oh, yeah. Dhammanudhamma Patipada.
That principle we talked about earlier.
Right. Living in accordance with cause and effect. Yes. That's really the foundation for bringing these teachings into our daily lives.
So being mindful of how our actions create ripples impacting ourselves and everyone around us.
Yes.
I mean, that sounds like a tall order.
It can be.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Okay.
Even small changes can make a big difference.
Okay. So where do we begin?
Well, think about your daily routine.
Okay.
Are there moments where you're just on autopilot?
Oh, yeah. Tons.
Just going through the motion?
Totally.
Maybe it's your commute, scrolling through social media.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Doing chores.
For sure.
All of the above.
Yeah, all of the above.
Especially mindlessly scrolling while waiting in line.
Oh, that's my biggest one.
We all have those moments.
Yeah.
But what if instead of letting your mind just wander,
right,
you use that time to practice mindful breathing?
Okay.
Or cultivate feelings of loving kindness towards the people around you.
Yeah.
You're turning those little pockets of time into opportunities to practice.
Yeah.
Instead of being swept away by distractions, you're consciously choosing to bring in more awareness and intention.
So it's like we're taking back control of our attention.
Yes.
And directing it towards something that's actually beneficial.
Precisely.
I like that. So finding those little ways to weave the Dharma into the fabric of our day.
Bit by bit.
Bit by bit.
It doesn't have to be this huge overhaul. Just small, consistent efforts.
Okay. And it's also about being more conscious of how you spend your time and energy in general.
Yes.
So like asking yourself, does this activity nourish me?
Right.
Does it align with my values? Or is it draining me? Is it pulling me away from what truly matters?
Exactly. Those are great questions to ask yourself.
Yeah, but it's not about like judging ourselves.
No, not at all.
Or striving for some kind of unrealistic ideal of perfection.
No, we're all works in progress. Constantly learning and growing.
Yeah, and each moment is like a fresh opportunity.
Yes, it is.
To make a different choice.
Exactly.
A choice that's more aligned with the Dharma.
That's right.
So it's not about being perfect.
No.
It's about progress.
It is.
It's about those small intentional shifts that over time lead to this like profound transformation.
That's right.
And I think it's also important to remember that we're not alone on this journey.
We're not.
The text talks about the value of connecting with, wise teachers and supportive communities.
It does.
It's like having this network of people who can inspire you, offer guidance, help you stay on track.
Absolutely keep you accountable.
That sense of community can be so powerful.
It can.
And what's so cool about the Dharma is that it's like a living tradition.
It is.
These teachings are ancient.
Yes, they are.
But they're still so relevant.
They are.
And adaptable to our modern lives.
To our modern lives.
It's not like this rigid set of rules. It's a framework for understanding ourselves.
Right.
And the world around us. And that understanding can help us navigate all the complexities of modern life with more wisdom and compassion.
That's right.
I love that. So it's not about escaping the world.
No.
It's about transforming our relationship to it.
Precisely.
Yeah, and I think the key takeaway here is that enlightenment isn't this distant goal.
Right.
Reserved for like monks or mystics or whatever.
It's not.
It's a journey that begins
right here.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now.
In the midst of our everyday experience.
Yeah, in the midst of our messy human lives.
That's right.
It's about waking up to the present moment.
Yes.
Cultivating mindfulness.
Absolutely.
Wisdom, compassion, and letting our actions flow from that place of understanding and liberation.
Beautifully put.
Even if we only catch a glimpse of that, even for a moment, it can make all the difference.
It can.
Wow, so we've really covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
We have.
From understanding the difference between meritorious deeds and wholesome actions.
Yes.
To exploring the different stages of enlightenment and the practices that can help us along the way.
Right.
It's been a really enriching exploration.
It has.
And I hope that our listeners feel inspired.
Me too.
To take these teachings and apply them to their own lives.
Absolutely.
So to wrap things up, is there anything else that you'd like to share?
I'd like to share a final thought from the text.
Okay.
It says, may this Siri Sadthdhamma dasana be helpful toward the completion of the 4 Sotapanna attributes.
Okay.
Attain samavimukti.
Right.
And be liberated from this perilous samsaric existence.
Powerful words.
Yeah.
Powerful words. So as you go about your day, remember the wisdom that we've uncovered here. Remember that this path to enlightenment, it's open to everyone, no matter where you are on your journey.
That's right.
Keep exploring.
Yes.
Keep practicing. And may you find true peace and liberation.
May you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
On this incredible exploration.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep seeking, keep growing, and may your journey be filled with wisdom and compassion.